You guys to roll in before I start the stream. Though if you can go backwards, might as well give the little talk. So Kenny was running, I'm pretty sure by himself. There wasn't any real competition. In the semis, there is four main people of note. So Kenny, Noah, Tebogo, and Bryan, and then you could say a fifth one for Gout Gout because I am going to talk about Gout Gout. Um, let's actually start off with Gout Gout. The reason why, if you guys remembered, but I did say during the heats that Gout Gout was not going to make it at the semis. And the reason why I had him not making it out of the semis is for a very simple reason, which I'm going to go over. Sub 20. That is it. He has never done a sub 20 legally. That was his only handicap. If he could get a legal sub 20 and he could do that repetitively, I would say, okay, fair enough. Even if it's just 1999 and he just kept hitting that same time day after day, I would say, okay, fair enough. Gout Gout is going to be in the finals. Because I know from historical times to get to the finals, if you're not running at least 1999, chances are you're going to be like sitting in the stands or wherever watching everyone else in the finals, that you're not going to be in the nine lanes that are going to be in the finals. You're going to be watching from elsewhere. So he didn't break sub 20. I wasn't surprised because I knew what caliber he needed to be on. I was surprised by how he ran. He ran more fluidly, but I wasn't really surprised on his result. I knew he wasn't making it past the semis. Anyone that thought he was getting to the finals was really dreaming here. Like even Usain Bolt in his first world champs, he got knocked out in the heats. So Gout Gout making it to the semis is already good for him at like the same age roughly. I think he's a 1 year older than Bolt was, if I'm wrong. But semis is good for his age. He's like, if he's already at the world stage just missing the finals at 17, I believe he is, then he's got at least another decade to get to the finals and podium and then try and aim for gold. So let's actually talk about the people who I deem relevant. First off being Kenny. So I can go over what I was talking about in more detail for the heats today because we've got the footage here. I've got the Wi-Fi on my TV so I can cast it. But if you look at the lane here, let me grab something like a pen. I don't know, a touch screen. So if you look at the lane here, this is the middle. Yeah, if you can see properly, that's the middle, that's the left, and that's the right. So when you're running the 200, we want to see an athlete do one of two things, which is either go straight down the middle, like so, or curve in to the right. Something that I've noticed a lot with Kenny, which I don't remember if he did here, is when he comes out of the blocks, he'll go left. That adds time because the middle of the lane is actually 200 meters. Closer to the inside of the lane is if you was to hug the inside of the lane the entire way around it, that would be 190 meters, not the whole 200. And if you drift out, that would be actually no, I think hug it inside is 195. Hug the outside is 205. So your lane place, or where you place yourself, the first foot down in the 200 matters. And if you just watch Kenny drifts to the left, which isn't good, but if I remember right, he does end up coming on to the inside. Because, I mean, Kenny is world class. He knows what he's doing. He's one of the best to ever do it. So, best. But he ends up drifting back onto the inside. But look, that's the 5 meter mark. If we can go back. That part, you might not be able to see it, but there's the changeover lanes. The line, sorry. That's the 10 meter mark, sorry. That's 10 meters. So, Kenny's about 5 meters from there. That's 50 meters. 50 meters, he's still slightly off to the left. He's still drifted a bit. So it's taken him, let's see, I want to say another 50 meters to get to the inside of the lane. That's late. The clock over there says 3.1. That is irrelevant because that clock's always wrong. But it's taken him about 30 meters, maybe a bit less, to go from being on the outside to the inside, which is something that I don't really like. He's taking too long to get around the start of the bend. Is he in good positioning for like roughly where he is? Because he's about to be about 50 meters down the track. Yeah, it's good, but no competition. So obviously he's going to be in good positions. There's no one to challenge him here. So if you just go, I'll just go back and let you guys just watch the whole thing, because when it comes to my main focus on with him was how he runs the start. We'll come back to his bend in a sec, but drifts out, has to work his way back in. I don't know why it's lagging like that. Damn, this is some trash quality. And then, oh, here we are. Next part. This is the second thing that I want to look at when you're running a 200. It's the same thing as with the bend. I mean, the block, sorry. Are you drifting left, middle, or to the right? When you watch Kenny, how far can I go before I change the angles? Okay. When you watch Kenny, he usually stays in the middle, but sometimes he'll drift onto the inside. Okay, so effectively, saying the camera angle doesn't move, we do not want Kenny to interfere with my pen that I placed here at all. Kenny's right there, in case. We don't want him to be anywhere near my pen. Comes around the bend, I have to drift the pen a bit. So yeah, he was near the middle, and then he drifts onto the inside, which is good. So he whips around the bend very well. Kenny's good at that. He's one of the best 200 meters athletes of all time and actively competing. So you'd expect that for him. Then he gets onto the straight. I apologize, it's so glitchy, but he opens up how he should, strides away, takes it easy, and crosses the finish in 19.8. That is good. That is comfortable. That is exactly what you'd expect from someone of his caliber. That could have been. It's 19.89. That could have been a 19.8 or a 19.78, based off purely how badly he ran that first 30 meters. If he fixed that up, he could save some time. And that's the thing. What I don't like with Kenny, because I saw the same thing in the heats. He did it better in the heats where he drifted out and he came back in, I'm pretty sure. But he's going too wide, and that drift is costing him. So let's go to, once I find it, I think it's right there. Let's go to the second semifinals. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this was Bryan Levell. So Bryan, I actually don't know where he is. I think that's him right there. If you can see him, lane 8. I think Bryan's in lane 8, and I actually kind of want to do Bryan last because he just runs exactly how I want him. Well, how I'd want to teach the 200 to someone, or how I'd want to run the 200 myself. Not specifically with his like general form, but the way he works around the bend and onto the straight is textbook. Genuinely, I can't say anything else. It's textbook. So same rules with him. Do you drift left, middle, or onto the right? The inside of the lane. Do you drift to the outside, middle, or inside of the lane? So let's start. Yeah. So he comes out. You can see that foot is like, I want to say, maybe 5 or 6 inches from the inside of the lane. So he's already pushed in. He has an advantage, I think, because his back foot is the left foot. So naturally he's going to drift onto his left, which is the inside. For us, it's the right, but you get the point. So he goes around. He's kind of in the middle, but he's quite close to the inside, which is good. He keeps going around. Let me just let it play. And then you can see he's not in the middle. He's close to the inside. He's going around the bend really well. Then once it changes the angles, he's in the middle of the lane. Ooh. And he stays on the middle. When you run a 200, you're not actually supposed to slide in when you're going around the bend. Some people do that. I do that. But staying on the inside lane, he cut some time off because he cut some distance off that he had to run, and then he slightly drifted out to the middle and held that position. So he's got solid core stability, trunk control to be able to do that, which is what all of these guys have. He goes down the straight, and then he does exactly what you'd expect. I personally think he pushed a bit hard, but once he saw just Tebogo near him, he took it a bit easy, crossed the line. 19, actually, what exact time is it going to say? 19.78, rather easy, rather controlled, wasn't challenged the whole way around. That's exactly what I want to see. What Kenny did and what he did, Bryan, is exactly what I want to see. Tebogo, on the other hand, not so much. Reason why I say I liked what they did, even though I was attacking Kenny, is because they made sure they were the first athletes off the bend, and it wasn't by a small margin. When you're doing the rounds, before you get to the finals, you want to make sure that you tune up. And one of the tune-ups you do for the 200 is making sure you're first off the bend. Bryan did it, Kenny did it, Noah did it, Tebogo, second place right there, did not do that. And if he cannot even match Bryan, who's supposedly, I don't believe so, but supposedly a 19.6 athlete, then what does that say for Noah, who is, as we all saw, clearly in 19.5 shape? So, Smelly Cash, but actually I think the only person that will be somewhat of a level after the bend is Noah. I agree. El Pablo, dude, kite with the clickbaiting. I'm not. Generally, he's going to be the 200... Okay, we'll see. We'll come back. Hello, Fasil Tadis. So, I mean, if the finals haven't happened, El Pablo. So if you think that's clickbait, then you know it's clickbait if you considered it to not click it because the finals haven't happened. It's not like I can jump, what is it, 4 hours into the future and say the exact results or give you the finals. I mean, obviously it's going to be slightly clickbait, but I'm saying the title is what it is because I believe that's going to be the outcome on my part. So now let's look at Tebogo. He was in lane, 2 lanes over. That must have been 6. Okay, next is Tebogo. Before we go to Noah and Gout, I think they're in the final one. Christina Matthews and Fasten him. That's cool. Palka TV. Nah, Levell is not being Noah. We'll see. Samantha Thomas. Hello. Christina Matthews. Meow. Okay. But yeah, Tebogo, what does he do? Does he drift to the outside, middle, or the inside of the lane? Right there. Straight off that first step, that was practically like, it was almost touching the line. He's literally as close to the line as you can get without touching it. Comes around, still near the outside, but he's kind of drifting to the inside of the lane. And then right here, it looks like you start to see him shift. Nah, he's still on the outside. That is not good for him. That is really not good for him. By now, it looks like he's in the middle. We'll see in a sec once we get to the bend. Nope, he is not. Look at this. Look at this foot. Okay, that foot is in the middle. If you go back one, that foot is on the left. So he's, again, too far out. This is part of the reason why Tebogo isn't running these bends as well as he should be. Because realistically, Tebogo should actually be in front of Bryan. But it's not just based off his 200 PB, but based off of how good his acceleration is at his peak and how well he can run a bend. He should be in front of Bryan. But that's not the case. And it's not adding up. And the reason why it's not adding up is because of what's happening right here. 205 meters instead of 200 or 195. That adds up. That first 100 bend puts a lot. So I'm not actually going to show the final 100 of Tebogo because he was in second place. He knew no one was near him. Whoever was in third was nowhere near him and they weren't going to be anywhere near him. And he was pretty much just hugging Bryan. He was doing his normal-ish close, so I have nothing really to say on that part. But I do have an issue with how wide he swung out of the blocks and then how wide he's swinging around the bend. Actually, look, even here, he's still not on the inside. He had one step on the middle and then he drifted out. So this adds up. He should realistically be off the bend properly, but he's still feeling the torque on this step compared to Bryan, who, I mean, he's in front, so he doesn't feel the torque. But even, I think that's Courtney Lindsay, if I'm correct, who right there, I want to say, no longer feels the torque, about half a step in front of Tebogo at that specific spot. So I'm not sure what Tebogo's been doing, but this is a problem. And we can let it slide in the heats, but the semis is where you want to be fixing something like this. And me still seeing this doesn't bode well, which is why I actually don't have him on the podium, because this is bad. He's near Bryan, yeah? That's good. But Bryan is no longer trying. He kind of shut it down by the time he got to the bend. So Tebogo being near Bryan doesn't say much, because Bryan at this point knows none of these guys are going to catch him. His only issue is Tebogo, and if Tebogo passes him, oh well, doesn't matter. First, second, both big Qs. So as long as it's only Tebogo near me, no one else, I don't care. Like, look at this. Jerome in lane 2 is about 1 step or 2 steps behind Tebogo, based off the angle. After, like, it looks like they're in line, they're not, they're slightly back, but it looks like Jerome's about 1 or 2 steps behind Tebogo, which is right there. That's not going to be the case later down the track, but the fact that Jerome, someone who got into the semis, I believe, through through as a little Q, he had to wait in the waiting room to even get to do the semis, and he's almost matching Tebogo, isn't good. Like him being that close to Bryan, we can let slide because Bryan's genuinely just jogging. But Tebogo, he had to fight his way to this position, and he's not even by himself. The angle will show that, yeah, he starts to stride away later on. But regardless, I just don't like the way Tebogo's been running his races, like especially on this specific meet, on the world stage. You are the Olympic gold medalist. We know you can get off the bend first. We know how strong your acceleration can be. We know how well your bend can be run, and you're doing this. Again, his coach has said that this isn't a really important season for Tebogo. It's a down year after the Olympics because he's had no break since like 2021. So we can let this slide. If he doesn't get onto the podium, I'm not sure he's going to be too beat up about that. But he probably still wants to. I mean, he's here. But these are just things that have to be considered, taken into consideration for the eventual result. Because if you do stuff like this, you might not even get a medal. So now let's look at Noah and Gala Gout. I believe Noah's... Oh, and Zarnell. But I don't really think we need to focus too much on Zarnell. He didn't run as well as he did in the heats. So Noah, Zarnell, and I think that's Gala Gout. If I'm wrong, we'll find out. We'll know about how he runs. So I'll just let this one play. Out of respect for the 19.5. Noah there, coming around. Well, that looks like a Mozambique. You don't know where Gala Gout is. So now, coming through, open the gap. Gala Gout must have been with Kenny then. I might have to go back. I might leave. I have to find him. I know he was in the semi somewhere. No way. No way. Serious? Oh, no way. He was. Okay. Why would they do that? Why would they put him... Whatever. So, yeah, let's do the talk about Gala Gout now. We'll leave Noah last. I'll quickly go over these. King, Brezhev, who win? I don't understand. Just keep scrolling up. Sabolai, so Tebogo's not getting a medal? Wow. Potentially. If he does get a medal, it'll be bronze, but I kind of can't put him on the podium yet. And actually, it's too late to put him on the podium, based off of how he's running. What do you think about Kenny winning gold? Palka TV. I don't think Kenny is going to get gold. He's going to get bronze. Reason being is, I already talked about this a bit before, but he's been really dominant until Noah came on the scene again this season, and he just lost every race that he could lose to Noah somehow. Even though Noah hasn't been in peak shape near the start of the season, he still lost. I mean, when he started his season, he still lost, which is crazy because like at the time Noah wasn't even breaking 10. So I just think there's like a mental barrier between him, especially in the two. So Kenny is, if he gets gold, I will be stunned because that is out of nowhere, in my opinion. Smelly Cash. Noah has changed his running style and focused on pure tone over the stride length this season. Very strange to dedicate this more than 5+ years of being a pro. Yes, very strange, Smelly Cash. Even stranger because I have a book called The Science of Sprinting and Hurdling by the late hurdler. I forgot his name, but the guy who, before he died, once per year, Noah would make a video with him analyzing his runs and saying, do this, do that, do that. And in the book, this PhD doctorate, ex-world champion in the hurdles, would say that the difference between the best athletes isn't stride length, it's actually stride frequency. Stride length tends to stay the same amongst the best. The real differentiator is the stride frequency, not the length. So once you have reached a certain length, you're not gonna really widen it by that much. Like, I mean, your legs can only go that wide anyway, without it becoming bounding. So from there, the focus is improving your power, rate of force development to increase your stride rate. So the fact that he's gone more stride length dominant isn't really a good sign. Plus, he's been running flat, and that might have been why he's been running flat, which is something to think about. So yeah, let's look at Gala Gout. is that 4, 5, 5, 5, 5. So when it comes to Gala Gout, I'm not going to be talking about him in detail because he didn't make it to the finals as I predicted, rightfully, and we can't look at him from the same lens we would the rest of the athletes, because Gala Gout is still developmental. Whilst he is on the world stage, he's only 17, if I'm correct. So, whilst his performance here is amazing, like if you compare it to Bolt, he is way better, leagues ahead. He's not at the level to beat these guys yet. He will be at some point, or actually they might not even be there when he is, but he's not at the level to be aiming for gold. Right now, his focus should be on... Can I drag this down? I don't know why I was like that. His focus should be on getting more championship experience, even at the cost of losing as he is right now. So when we watch Gout, we're going to go over the same things, but I really want to just focus on his acceleration because we want to look at his weaknesses, not so much his strengths. We know he can close really well. We know he can run a decent enough bend. I haven't actually looked at his bend in detail because every single time you see his bend, it's always that really weird angle. So you never really get to see how well he can run the bend. So let's see. Same things. Does he drift to the outside, middle, or the inside of his lane when he comes out of the blocks and around the bend? And then how strong is he out of the blocks? So, oh, that was quick. Especially because of the, what do you call it? How crap this quality is. Comes out, I want to say that's middle of his lane. Looks like he's starting to drift to the inside, which is good. No, never mind. Still near the middle. Coming around, bouncing down. He uses pure elasticity. He's starting to fade a bit compared to the rest, but that's fine. Again, these guys are way better than him at the moment. Middle of the lane. Comes around, stays in the middle. So he is like running the entirety of the 200 purely very well. He did kind of drift to the outside of the lane around the bend, but this is figuring out like how not to do that. Comes down to experience, like maybe push out the block slightly weak or change the angle of the blocks. What I really like here is he's holding his form. You're still seeing the traditional knee lift that you normally see from his blowout races at the World Champs. It's just he's not near the front, he's near the back. But he's still doing his best, still doing well. He kind of shut it down there because he realized he wasn't going to win, even though like he had a chance. Because if he came third, he might have been able to get through qualification. Little queue in the waiting room, but kind of gave up and then finished. But what I do like is how powerful he seems to be. Let's go back. Compared to like seasons before, or even the start of the season, you can tell he spent more time, maybe not specifically in the weight room, but more time working on driving, maybe with some sleds, figuring out how to actually be powerful. He's on a world stage, and the stagger hasn't run. These guys have, but the stagger hasn't run away from him until like around there, and that's about 80 meters. So the fact that he can stay with these guys till 80 meters and then use. Anyway, the fact that he can stay with these guys and use his top end that he normally uses to claw his way back to the front bodes well for his abilities. He didn't panic. He trusted in what he does to do what he does best, and it showed in the result that he got. So again, we're not going to do too much on what do you call it, Gout. For him, he just needs to trust what he's been doing and just keep going and doing that. So now let's get back to Noah. And before I do that, I'll answer some of what you're saying. Maga Daraj, who are you? I'm nobody. You can leave if you don't believe what I'm saying. I could be wrong, but so far I've been proven decently enough right. If I'm like I predicted the podium rather well. It's just sometimes I get the order wrong. But Shalom Samuel, what do you think is the ceiling for Levell right now in terms of time? That is a good question. That's a good question. I think he's Tebogo level, so 19.4. How he ran his 19.7 was very cruisy, very easy. From the looks of things, because again, I don't really know him. I don't know any of these guys, but I don't really know him through races. So I can't speak too much in detail on how his form is, but from the looks of how he runs, he tends to run a really good bend and then an all right finish, maybe even a good finish. But he does seem to have a lot of speed reserves to finish. He can hold his top. Okay, I think chances are when he runs in the finals, when he's going up against Noah, because that's his real competition, he's gonna get off the bend first. Like, mark my words. Write this down. Write this down right now. He will get off the bend first. Noah will be in close second. If Bryan's going to win, he's got to pull away just a bit from Noah. If that does not happen off the bend, it will be Noah's race. If that does happen, then Bryan has just done what a bleep did to the whole 100-meter field, which is in a way do a blowout race. Not too much, but yeah. So now let's get to Noah. I have dropped him down to silver, and you're gonna be a bit shocked for the reason why, and that is actually because of this performance. Edgardo Guzman, why don't you talk about Jesus? I mean, people are here for track and field, not really God, but I mean, if people wanted me to talk about it, I might be down. Nasty guys, should I put $200 on Noah running in the 19 freeze? You should put $200 on Noah running in the 19 freeze if you don't like your money. That's my opinion. If you want to throw money away, and if that's the case, give me the £200. Might as well give it to me, because he's not running 19.3. Based off of the stats, I think he ran the 9.89 in the 100. When he ran his 19.3, he ran 9.83 in the 100. So speeds wise, he's slower than what he did at his best, though he's close. I don't think he's gonna do that. So if you want to throw money away, might as well throw money to me. But yeah, let's break down Noah. Noah right there, lane 7, same rules as before. Does he drift outside, middle, or inside of his lane? Let's find out. Right there. It's so hard to tell because of how well he did it, but he did not move. He just went straight forwards, which is that's sensational. That's amazing. That's exactly what you want from a 200 guy. So he comes down powerfully. He kind of drifted a bit there, then he fixed it. He's starting to hug the inside of the lane, preparing for the bend. That's going to be hitting him right there. Comes around, hits the track. Right here, you got to focus on really hammering. Frequency isn't really your friend anymore. Frequency was before, but now you got to hit. You want to hit the hammer really hard. He does that. Oh, can you guys see? Hope so. Yeah. So comes around. He's starting to drift outwards a bit. Kind of saves it. Drifted a bit. So he's like, he's outer middle. He's still in the middle, but he's like on the outer side of it. Coming down. It looks like, yeah, he drifted out around the bend. So that's something he's have to fix. He drifted a bit on the bend. He should have just gone straight down. Like, did a little nice twist and kept going. But instead he did a twist and he drifted out a bit. So that lost him a bit of his speed at that specific point. He's got to make that back up, which he probably won't, because your top end is, like, I mean, no one's done it before, I guess, but generally you don't go above your top end off the bend, unless you never hit your top end before you got to the bend. But from there, you see Noah power down the track, pulling away. I mean, this is just classic Noah right here. There is like, what do you want me to say? Like, look at this gap. This is longer than my pen. My pen, I would need 2 pens to reach Zarnell. This is what Noah does. Yeah. 19.51. Congrats to Noah, but this is exactly why I don't think he's gonna do it. So Noah had a similar performance in the 100, where, if I believe it was the semis, or was it the heats, where he ran really fast. He ran a 9.9 into a -1, which was a 9.8, and he used up a lot of his energy. And when you slap on the fact that in the 100, I don't exactly remember the exact time, but if you converted that 9.9 into the -1 wind to the 9.8, it actually would have been faster than what he ran in the finals. Not by much. I think it was like 0.04. I think he would have run a 9.85, 9.84. But it would have been slightly faster than what he ended up doing in the finals. He still would have lost. so that doesn't change much. But this would be adding up, especially considering the fact that in the 200, you've got way more issues to deal with through rounds. So specifically, the biggest issue that you got to deal with is lactic. Lactic is the biggest thing. Running a 19.5, jogging off the bend is one thing. Running in a 19.5, shutting it down, see if I can guess this correct, around there, and barely, because it looked like he just powered through, but he just kind of just relaxed his shoulders and kept his stride length. Two different things. Two very different things. Because like shutting it down near the end means you pretty much just ran a 19.5 and then you just took that tiny steps to the end. Compare that to running a 19.5 off the bend, doing like that. If he did that, running the 19.5 really hard off the bend and just jogged the final bit, I would say the world record may actually move. Like, it depends on how he did it, but the world record may actually move. But the way he did this still does not make me happy. I'm happy with how he ran his bend. Mostly, like 90% satisfaction with how he ran the bend. But the straight, he has no issues there. So why he's forcing it? Like, I mean, why would you create a gap this big in the first place? Unless it's by accident. You don't need to win by this much. We are not in the finals. We are in the semis. And generally, you might end up finding that the finals never even go this fast. He still loses. So this would be another scenario where he's kind of like taken on the role of a Bleak Seville now, where he will run super fast in the semis and then down and just run on dead legs in the finals. So for the finals today, he's going to have to deal with battered legs from doing this. He's already said in an interview that he's going to be, I think it was the same anyway, he's going to be screaming in his hotel room from the massage he's going to have to get to flush out the lactic. So he knows what he did was dumb. He said he had a point to prove, but that point wasn't to someone like Bryan. That was to everyone. And if you've got a point to prove to all of us, not one specific athlete, why bother doing this? Show us this in the finals. The semis, there are no medals to be won. And here's the thing. People like to say, well, it's Noah. You know, like Noah can do it every once and he'll still win. Noah's like 28, 29. He's not as young as he used to be. He cannot get away with this stuff. He's pushing 30. His body is going to be recovering slower than what it usually would. And the fact that he's not running the way he normally does, that just makes it way worse. For example, I've talked about this before, and I'll talk about it again, but Noah runs so flat now. If you just watch his feet, he's more stride length dominant, and his feet spend way longer on the ground than they should be. It's just like, the camera's so, the footage is so bad, so you can't really see it properly, but it's kind of just flat. Every step is really flat. So he's producing a lot of power, but probably producing so much power that he has to spend longer on the ground because he's trying to produce as much as he can regardless of what his ground contact time ends up being. And you get stuff like this. Sure, a solid 19.5, an easily replicable 19.5, but what if he's got nothing left to give? Because unlike with the 100 where it's just pure power and yeah, they didn't really give you much of a gap, but because this is pure power, the next day, if you do things right, you could recover well enough to flush out whatever issues and fatigue that your body's built up. But that's not going to be the case for Noah because he's got the neural fatigue from being dumb enough to run a 19.5 against no competition. If they're this far back, they're not really going to be challenging you in the finals. So neural fatigue for running a 19.5, that's not a slow time. Sure, he's ran many 19.5s across his entire career, but you have to think about it. It's still only 0.2, like exactly in this case, 0.2 off of his PB. That is still a lot to have to deal with. Then he's got to flush the lactic and then come back tomorrow to do what he says he does best. He's been saying he feels like he's in the best shape of his life, but from what I've seen, the best shape he's showing me tends to be one round before. So this is probably the fastest he can go. Based off of this, initially when I saw it, I wanted to say he could drop a 19.4. But when I really thought about it and I rewatched the film, I was like, he could have dropped to 19.5, well, 19.4, sorry, if he did this in the finals, because he would have given a bit more to get that 19.4. It would have been like a 19.4, 8, 4, 7. I don't think it would have been a 19.4 flat, for example. But we still could have gone faster. And I feel like that could have been the differentiator between gold and silver. Which is why he professionally knocked himself off the podium. Another thing I want to talk about is his interview. So in the interview, Bryan Lavel's mentioned, and he kind of doesn't really know what to say about Bryan, partially because he doesn't really know the guy. Like, I don't think any of us really know the guy unless you're a pure Jamaican fan. You've been following everyone growing up. But he doesn't really know the guy, and it's like, hey, so this guy is jogging 19.8, 19.7. He's going to try not to let it get to his head, but you kind of can't, because he knows he's not in the type of shape to jog that time the way Bryan jogged that time. 19.5 like this, he could jog a 19.7. Sure, he could. But would it have looked as easy as Bryan did it? No. Bryan's performance is as impressive, if not maybe slightly more impressive, than this from Noah. And he did it without having to use the energy Noah did. I actually don't know why Noah did this. If he was trying to prove a point like what he did with Area 9 or Kenny Benerick in that Pacific race where they were there, sure. But no one's here. You got no point to prove to anyone back there. And the only point you've proven to me, at least, is maybe you had the speed and now you don't. Because this is the guy I had gold. I'm going to have to go and change my exact order on World Athletics for the podium game. I had him on gold purely because Bryan's 9.8 in the heats was great, but it didn't show me what I believe was necessary to get gold. That 19.7 though matches this without the lactic. So I got to knock him down because this isn't really something that I like. So for my podium, it's Bryan, Noah, then Kenny. Tebogo's not on it for the reasons I've already gone over. Kenny's bronze because I think he wants to lose to Noah. I don't know why, but I think he wants to lose to Noah. So he's going to get the bronze there. And the reason why he's not going to beat Bryan is because, unlike with the rest of Noah's winning world champs that he runs, where you'll see a gap similar to this, if Noah wins, Bryan will be there. If Bryan wins, Noah will be where he is and Bryan will be there. And that's going to be a tight race. We haven't seen a race that tight on the world stage in a 200 for a while. And it would be nice to see something like that, especially the American-Jamaican battle as usual. So let's go over your guys' comments. Joe Vass, Levell will run 19.42. I don't think so. High 19.4 is on the cards. Most likely it will be 19.5 though, realistically. Because again, we haven't seen him run a 200 all out from gun to tape. So we need to see how he does that. Maybe he'll crumble. Maybe he'll do what Kashane Thompson tends to do and like tense up a bit. And then that will cost him the result. So I can't push him 19.4 yet, but I do think the potential for a 19.4 is there. The result may say differently, but I think he will walk away with gold. That's saying he can handle the pressure well. Because it would have been nice if Bryan was seeded against someone like Noah or Kenny. But because he wasn't, and yeah, he was seeded against Tebogo, but Tebogo didn't really push him. Because he needs someone to be pushing him during the first 100. I can't really say how well he's going to handle the finals, but I think he'll do well. Sabolai, why do people say Tebogo's not in shape when he's running similar times he did last year in the 200 meters? Tebogo isn't in shape because of how intense his last season was. And the drive is gone. Let's remember this. Like, no disrespect, but Tebogo's mum didn't die this season. She died last season. Tebogo almost quit, and then he decided he was going to do it for his mum. Who's he going to be doing this one for? I'm not saying he can't do it. Sure, he might. He generally might do it. He's got less volume to have to deal with, but he doesn't have that drive, that driving factor to want to do something, not prove everyone else wrong, but prove to his mom that he can do what he said that he can do, and he can do what she probably was saying that he could do before she passed. Rest in peace, her soul. And against the competition this season, it seems tighter. Noah, he always underperforms at the Olympics in the 200, so that was an easy part on his part. And then Kenny is your favorite silver medalist guy at the Olympics. If Kenny goes to LA 2028, I'm gonna put him on my silver pick straight away. But I just don't know if he's got that same drive. I don't know what his training camp's like. I just don't think he's going to be able to pull it off because the competition's fiercer than it was last season. A lot of people have a lot they want to prove. And I feel like Tebogo's proved what he wanted. And he's, again, like his coach has said, he's just going to be cruising this year. Tebogo will run Joe Vass. Tebogo will run 19.63 from mid lane. Could. I won't disagree with that. He could do that. I don't know how tight exactly the final is going to be, but it will be tight. I'm expecting 2 19.5s at the bare minimum if things go well. So Tebogo could run a 19.6, but I think it could be a bit higher than that. But we'll have to see. Noah would, the same guy. Noah will retire and move to Hollywood. I wouldn't put it past him. I don't know. He loves his acting and antics, so he could. Nehemiah, is a day enough to recover from a 19.51? No, it's not. It's not. To put in perspective, when Noah ran his 19.6, I think he had the 200 finals the day after, if not 2 days after. But regardless of the exact gap, it wasn't a big gap between the semis and the finals, but he had a 0.3 second drop from what he did in the semis compared to what he ended up doing in the finals. If we go off that same numbers here, Noah's going to run a 19.2. Do you think Noah's going to run a 19.2? Do you think he's going to touch Usain Bolt's world record and maybe knock Johan Blake off of his number 2's position? Realistically, let's speak realistically. Do you think this is gonna be the season? No. So this is gonna drain him. Like the lactic is one issue. He can flush that. That he should be able to flush that good enough to still do well in the finals. But the neural fatigue from doing what he just did, you can't flush that in a day. I mean, you can't flush it at all. It takes 48, and realistically, if you want it to really go, 72 hours to get that out of your system. He doesn't have that. He's got 3 more hours to do that. He's probably going to start his warming up in an hour. So different things we're focusing on there as well. Jova asked, great question, Nehemiah. It isn't if you exert too much, which he did. I agreed. Jay Muller with an X. Yo. Jovas, no, will be slower than semis, maybe 19.6. It is a possibility. But again, I just need to see how well he runs these rounds. His final round, I guess, in the finals. I want to say, though, he is, of all of the 200 athletes we've ever seen, he is, without a doubt, I'm a nowhere here, so I'm not going to glaze him unless he deserves the glaze. And he is the most consistent 200 athlete to walk the earth to have ever existed. That's just hands down. And could he run another 19.5? Probably. I actually can't put it past him. He could do it. There's a genuinely the possibility that he could do that, just down to how consistent he is. Asafa Powell is the sub 10 king for a reason, and Noah is a sub 20 king. If you wanted to crown him that, which doesn't really have the same ring as a sub 10, but that's the type of guy that Bryan, Tebogo, and Kenny have to deal with, and this could get in their heads potentially. But I think Noah's gonna have to deal with the volume well if he really wants to fight for that gold. If he wants to prove that me knocking him down from gold, not that he cares, is wrong, and he walks away with that. So we'll see. Palka TV, good take, but when will we see you at the Worlds? So that's a good question, you know? I'm rolled. I'm rolled. 21-8, I'm trash. So we'll see. But if things go well, maybe 3-4 years from now. So yeah, maybe you see me debut at the Olympics, but I won't be in the 100. I'll be in the 200 because I'm even more rolled in the 100 for some odd reason. Like I run 6.99, 11 flat. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm a top end guy. But yeah, enough about me. Same thing. Louis Siam Buezele. I predict that Lavel is going to run between 19.54 to 19.47 in the final. Kenny will run 19.52. Noah will run 19.43, and Let's CD will run 19.33. That is a crazy take. That is a crazy take. To put in perspective, what you've just said. Wait, let's start with the Levell one. The Levell one's plausible. 19.5 to 19.4 could happen. Kenny 19.5. I think he's only won a 19.5 once, and that was this season. So he could PB, but I'm not sure. Noah will run 19.4. If he's got the leg speed in him still, could happen. I don't think so. And then Let's City will run a 19.3. That's what I really want to talk about. That 19.3, that 19.33, to put in perspective, him running a 19.33 would put him, Usain Bolt, Johan Blake, about 5th all time. I was correct. 5th all time in the 200. He will be behind some of the greatest to ever walk the planet in the 200. So you got Noah Lyles, Michael Johnson, Johan Blake, and Usain Bolt. These are the only athletes who ever ran a 19.3 or faster. And you're going to say from how he's been running this season, he's going to do that. If you were to rewind to how these other guys running the seasons they ran those 19.3s or faster, other than Johan Blake, because he kind of had it lucky because of the specific track he was running. I think he had was it a shorter bend or a longer straight, something like that. But everyone else, they had crazy good seasons from the start to the finish. Tebogo hasn't really been having that. So, and that's in the 1 and the 2. I think that's a crazy take. I don't even know what to say. That's a crazy take. I love to be proven wrong though in the sport. I like when people do better than what I think they're gonna do, but that is rare from the looks of things. But a 19.3, again, that is history. That is history. Genuinely, that is history. If he did that, he would make, like, let's say everything you just said there was correct. That would make this 200-meter final that's coming to be, on average, the fastest 200 finals in history. That's how big the take you just made is. Like, that is not something that I could see from how everyone's moving as well being possible. Maybe Noah, but Noah would have to be in PB shape to do something like that, and then we'd have to reorder all of this. So Joe Fast, Lavel was pure 200 with no lactic from the 100. Yes, that is correct. All of the other names I've been naming, they were in the finals at the 100. Obviously other than Gout, but Kenny, Tebogo, Noah, they were all in the finals at the 100. Lavelle isn't. So Lavelle had been managing his rounds really well. I think it's really strategic on his part because he knows his biggest competitors, by the time they get to the 200 finals, they are going to have to deal with their 6th round of competing minus relays. So I don't actually know the exact schedule for the relays, whether anyone's competed yet, or like of the big names, because they're going to only show up most likely in the finals. So he's got more in the tank than everyone else does when it comes to the finals, because everyone else is kind of running on empty to really push for a fast time. Could they get it done? Sure, they've done it before. But Levell just has that added benefit of 2 rounds. They like back to back. He's like, maybe he might not have been. I don't know when he'd come to the champs, but he also might benefit. If he probably came with the Jamaican team, so he'll be there to start the champs, which means he probably has benefited from training in Tokyo, and adjusting his sleep schedule, and I guess his food wouldn't really matter much, but his sleep schedule to the meets, which is something that these guys didn't really have as good of a benefit for, because he's competed like a week later than everyone else. So that would really add up towards him being in peak shape to compete in the finals. Bolt ran low 20s before 1990. No, it was dumb to do 19.51. Oh yeah, that's from, actually wait, before I answer that, Lau, what time is the race? I think the race is at 2. Someone will say it in the comments though, because now that I brought it up, I know someone will correct me because I'm often wrong. So I think it's 2 though. If it's not 2, then I don't even know. It could be right now. It could be right now, but I don't think it is. Nasty guy, but Bolt ran low 20s before 1919. No was so dumb to do 19.51. Yes. Bolt also had the greatest speed reserves though. So Bolt could, and he's just had longer legs, so he could like stride away like that. But yeah, if he was to place Bolt in this race, Bolt would have been there. He would have been jogging like this, looking left, looking right. I think he would have shut it down. And he would have been doing that from the bend. Noah isn't, I guess his battle IQ isn't as good as Bolt's. And I mean, it makes sense. Like, this is the world record holder he's gone up against. So, yeah, but this was dumb. That's my opinion. Like, when I get to world champs, I will not do something like this. Even if I am the favorite, I will not be doing something like this. If I do something like this, yeah, clip this live stream, yeah, and send it to me. Just repeatedly, whether that's on Instagram, YouTube, I don't care. Just keep tagging me, just to show how dumb I was to thinking I was better than doing something like this. If I did something like this, it'd be by accident. I'm not doing this on purpose. Unlike him, he did this on purpose. That's not smart. Sabolai, in about 3 hours' time, I believe that's the answer to when the finals is. So I was correct, about 2 p.m. Shalom, oh yeah, GMT, because I'm in the UK. Shalom, Samuel, can you go over the lane draws and how it will affect, if it will, Yekta, Akio, Asafa Powell? I'm not him. I guess I could. So, let me see if I can find that for you. I'm not sure if I can. In the meantime, I'll go over some of the other questions here. Joe Bass, I feel bad for Kenny. I agree. Kenny, to this day, still hasn't won against anyone, really. He's a professional loser. Like, no placing hurts more in the sprints. I mean, really any event in track and field than silver, because silver is like saying, okay, I was better than the bronze medalist, and I was good enough to get gold, but I just got out jumped, out thrown, or out sprinted by a slight margin at the end, and it just cost me. Maybe I made a mistake here, and that's what resulted in me not winning. So it can be really disappointing when stuff like that happens, and these things happen. So I've got the 200 lane draws, so I'll go over it right there. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but let's move in. I don't matter. These do. So in lane 2 is Dambili, 3 Karukaru, 4 Ogando, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you got Tebogo, Noah, Bryan and Kenny. Zano's in 9, doesn't really matter here. So based off of that, ooh, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting purely because in the semis, Bryan was in lane 7, I think. If it wasn't 7, it was 8. But it was one of those two. So he's close to the bend that he's been running well with so far. So that's going to be benefiting him. Kenny's in 8. Kenny is running blind. Kenny is not going to be happy about this lane draw. The happiest person is going to be Noah, because Noah's like, okay, I can't let left, but I just need to make sure Tebogo doesn't get on my shoulder. I pass Bryan, and then Kenny might be a non-issue if I was in Noah's head. So if Noah passes Bryan before we get onto the straight, it's a Noah race. There's not much else to say. Noah's going to walk away with the gold. No one's going to run him down other than Tebogo. And to this day, I don't think Tebogo's ever run down Noah. In the 2024 finals, I don't think Tebogo ran down Noah. I believe he's off the bend in front of him anyway. I think he had to run down Kenny. So shouldn't be much of an issue for Noah if that's the case. But Bryan has it really easy. He just needs to make sure, I fly by Kenny. Kenny's probably going to ruin his start. He has a bad start to begin with, but he might get a slow reaction or whatever, thinking about what he did in the 100 finals, saying, I don't want to do it again, does it again anyway. Bryan passes him, I want to say by 30... No, that is rude to say. Probably about 45 to 50 meters, so halfway around the bend. Bryan will pass Kenny. Noah will be hunting Bryan down. Bryan should be in the lead. I probably won't even be looking at Tebogo, but based off of my thoughts, Tebogo could be in line with Alexander Ogando. Straight up like that. So by that point, I wasn't really thinking about Tebogo too much. Noah's going to run a good bend. Bryan's going to run a good bend. Get off the straight together, chances are. And then from there, it just depends on who's first. I think whoever's in first will hold that for the rest of the race. Well, so if Bryan is, I want to say, a stride in front of Noah, the race could be done. That is my take. That is my take based off of this. Oh, that's funny. Rauka, you look a lot like Tebogo. This is my arms. My arms are skinny. My back's wide. So if you go by arms, sure. If you go by like the rest of my physique, no, we look nothing alike. Straight up. You probably said that to offend me, but I can't lie. We just look nothing alike. Jovas, can you believe this with no individual medal? That is a crazy take. I'm not certain on that one. I think he might edge out Tebogo. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. 3 hours, a lot can happen. Peter Machayunka, hi. Jovas, what is your score on the champs prediction game? That's a good question. That is a good question. Let's see. Ooh. Let's find out. Don't look. Don't look. Don't look. No cheating. No cheating. Ooh. Ah. Let me stop looking at the screen. Ooh. I think it's about 200. I think it's about 200 though. It's like 256. 305. 305. Okay. See that? 305. The reason why it's so, I mean, I don't know if that's high, but the reason why it was like 250 yesterday, and the reason why it's jumped to 305 is because yesterday I correctly predicted the exact order of the 400 podium for men and the women. So let me just go to the predictions played to show. What day is it today? 19th. I can't wait to see that. For the 400 hurdles, by the way, I got Rye, Dos Santos, and then Warholm. So we'll see if I'm right there. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? No. Let's see. Let's go to results. I need to remember to change my order for the 200. Yeah, that's them. That's them. So the left is the women, the right is the men. I said Kevin Sashipi, don't know how to say his name, would come first. 47% chance. Kind of hard to see this, but he had a 47% chance. I believed in him. Botswana was moving crazy in the heats. I put this down from the heats alone. I knew he was going to win. I had Jareem Richards in second because Jareem loves to get medals. I didn't think he was going to get gold, but I knew he was going to get a medal. So I put him on second. And then Bayapo and Dory, he looked amazing as well. Botswana as well. Put him 56. He has 56%. I put him third. I got 60 points from that. And then for the women, I had Sydney number one. Sydney, she ran 48 the way she did. I mean, it wasn't a surprise why I put her number one. My lady Paulino number two. Again, it's not that surprising why I put her two. But Sawa Inas, the reason why I put her three is because she consistently crumbles against Paulino. So yeah, I was like, this is gonna be the easiest one for me to get. Sydney is gonna do Sydney things, walk off with gold. Paulino is gonna do great, but she's gone up against the GOAT of maybe even like this entire sport, struggle. And then Sal was like, she's good, but she's not Sydney good. And then she always consistently crumbles against Paulino, so I can't put her any higher. But yeah, 300 whatever it was. Got how many points? Yeah, 305. That's how many points I have. I just saw something crazy. Selling your kidney. I'll get to that though. Necto, hi, One Nation. What do you think women's 200 meters? So actually, we can show that because I've got my picks here. 200 meters. I had Melissa Jefferson, Sharika Jackson, and then Amy Hunt. I'm certain on the 1 and the 2. For the 3, I just gave it to Amy Hunt because I just felt like it. I just felt like it. I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like doing stuff. Will I be right? I don't know. When it comes to the bronze pick, I don't really care. I already know who's going to come 1 and 2. Realistically, it should have been Melissa. Actually, no. It should have been Julian Melissa, then Sharika. But Julian pulled out with an injury, so I can't even put her on the podium, which is sad. William Council, Tebogo wins with 19.24. Make note of this. I'm saying that because Tebogo came out of the box at approximately 40% and ran as necessary to qualify, and Tebogo closed on Noah before. Tebogo closing on Noah before doesn't mean he's going to close on Noah now. Tebogo, this entire season, has been getting run down by Noah in every single time they've raced in the 200. He's any time he's had even a chance of beating Noah, he was well out in front and Noah had to bring him back in. And coming out of blocks at 40% is not a recommended sprint strategy. So everything you just said is why I don't think he's gonna run 19.2. But you know what, yeah? I'm gonna take your word on it. I'm gonna take your word on it, because if you're correct, I will bring you up. If you are wrong, I will still bring you up. So let's do this. Make sure you tune in for my finals prediction, because I'm writing your name down. William Council. Tebogo. 1924. I'm writing really quick. Yeah, I've got your name. It's trash. I've got you down. Yeah. So if you're correct, I will shout you out. And if you're in the stream, I will pin you. If you're wrong, this is the writing a shame here, because you're wrong. And I don't think so, because you just said Tebogo's going to rewrite the history books, which haven't moved in almost a decade. More than a decade, putting Tebogo second all time, 0.05 off of Usain Bolt's world record. That is some crazy talk. And if you're right, yeah, if you're right, I want to have a sit down with you, because that is insane. But I don't think so. But I've got you here. I'll even write open at after finals live. 200 finals. So now I won't forget. You are written down here. You may go down in history as one of the dumbest predictions that have ever been brought to me. Generally, if you're correct, I want to have a sit down just to know how your brain ticks, how you figure that out. Because no way. That's crazy. Joe Black, William, that's 100%. Yeah, no way. Nasty guy. I was on my kidney to Tebogo Ross 94. He's got to know I'm not the only one. Yeah, that's a crazy take. Smelly Cash. All I know is that this 200-meter final is insanely deep talent. I could go to anyone if they lock into me. Correct. I agree with that. I could say even Tebogo could win, but I just don't think. The way I'm doing it is how I did it for the 100, and trying to be more analytical about it, because I should have realistically known Oblique was going to win based off of what I was even saying he did in the heats. But I want to be as accurate as possible. I'm not going to let any emotions cloud my judgment. I'm not going to let any heritage cloud my judgment. I'm not going to let any hate cloud my judgment or dislike. I want to make sure that I can predict the most accurate podium for myself and for you guys, so we can have... So I can have another I told you so moment. And I think I'm going to have a I told you so moment based off how this is going. Tebogo shouldn't get on the podium. Kenny should get bronze. Noah should get silver. And he may retire shortly after. And Bryan should win. That's my thoughts. Smelly Cash, I don't understand. Joe Vass, correct on the prediction game. I started late only 2 days ago. Yeah, actually, when we come down to predictions, I actually missed to put the prediction for the 100-meter finals because I was at church, and the finals happened slightly after my church was done, but I was too busy doing other stuff, so I couldn't get it down. Otherwise, my score would be higher. I would have got I think 30 points because I was wrong with gold and silver, but whatever. Sabolai at Narsika, where do you live so we can buy that kidney? How much will you be selling it for? That is pin of shame. Joe Vass, William Council is on drugs. Crazy take. William Council, give me a shout after this race because you're wrong. Watch, I'm definitely gonna tune in. If you're saying let's put it like this. If Tebogo runs 19.2, I will be personally in attendance for what's next year. I think it's the Ultimate World Champs, because I will be expecting a world record. I want to sit down and see a world record in my best event personally. I need to see it. That's how deep that is. I need to personally sit down and see it. Not in 4K, not in 16K, ultra high definition with my eyes. 2020, I don't think they are anymore. 2020 vision, so we can see how he did that, because I just don't see it. Nasty guy, it would be for $1 on eBay. I'd give you a pin of shame as well, but you know what, yeah. I can't move this guy. I just can't do it. Sabola, that's a William Council, you'll see. So yeah, maybe I will see. Make sure you tune in. I don't know when I'm gonna put the final, when I'm do the interview, well, the live for the finals, because I don't think he's gonna do it. I actually think my answers might be wrong. Like, for what I know, Noah, it's 50-50 really between Noah and Bryan. You have to have them gold and silver. It's just which order specifically you're gonna put them on. But I want to knock down Noah. Based off of what he did in the semi, so I'm going to. That's what I'm going to do. Jovas, Fred Curley fled to the dark side. The rest will follow. I have a take on what Fred Curley did, and it's unlike everyone else's. People are saying Fred Curley is going to... Well, he was taking drugs. That's why he got the suspension, and he's going to get the ban because he has drugs in his system and XYZ. I disagree. I think he took it because he's been suspended. He can't compete on any World Athletics sanctioned meet, so he might as well compete elsewhere. Plus, massive bonus just for showing up, massive signing bonus, massive winning bonus. If he can get down to 9-7 shape, which I believe anyway he did without drugs, he will win even if these guys do go on drugs. The drugs don't make you that good. They can't. They can't. Drugs, depending on what type of PEDs you take, will be affecting your muscles or how well you can recover physically, not improving tendon capacity, tendon size, or anything like that. Anything that really matters in our sport. So going on drugs doesn't really benefit him that much, and would actually show on his longevity, which would mean chances are once his suspension or ban, if it goes to a ban, is lifted, he probably have to retire because he's just demolished his body. I think he's going to compete clean. Generally, there's no rule saying you can't go to the enhanced games unenhanced. I think that would be a W, saying, I went to the enhanced games, I did not dope, I still won, give me my money. Give me more money for doing that. And he'd actually prove that it is possible to do the sport clean, and you should, because you can win clean. I think he has a campaign that could really, really work well in the sport. Plus, Fred is business-minded. Why would you stay in this sport the way it's run when you don't even get money? You get paid pennies. I don't even get paid. So I can see why he did it for different reasons. Smelly Cash, if Tebogo runs 19.24, Fred Curley would be cleaner than Tebogo in the enhanced games. I agree. I agree. That's crazy. Jovas, Fred Curley takes what William Council gave him. Potentially, but I don't think he's on drugs. So, but I've always wanted to see an experiment on how drugs affect performance and by how much. I have as well, because you've already seen how wind can affect performance, how different training modalities can affect performance, but no one really looks at drugs because it's unsafe. But I don't think you really need to, because drugs don't really benefit you. It's about power. Drugs will make you faster during the first 10 to 20 meters. Beyond that, you're in the same boat as everyone else. If you get reeled in because you got too much mass, what do you say? The drugs made me faster, the drugs made me slower, the drugs made no difference. I don't know, but yeah, I'm done. I'm going to go because I've got places to be. I need to make sure I watch this final. And I'll see you guys potentially today. If not today, tomorrow. I'll try and do it today, where we'll cover the results of the finals. And we'll see whether William Council is taking the good stuff or crack cocaine. Khalid Dabiri, I'm not even... Go away, Khalid. Go away, Khalid.